Pokémon Violet is a game whose story has ties to a distant future. I should know, I beat the thing 4 months ago on my own time. But like in most mainline Pokemon games, in order to see all the Pokemon in the Pokedex, you need to trade over the Pokemon that are exclusive to the other version of the game. Okay, cool, no sweat. There are these trade codes that exist that people use to trade the version exclusives of each game to each other. Let me just boot that up and... Okay, it's been a half hour and I've still got nothing. You know what, let me just trade with a friend who has the game. It'll be no problem. Easy peasy. Okay, let me just find a friend real fast, and... Pokemon Scarlet is a game whose story has ties to a distant past. And you're telling me I have to beat this whole damn thing again just to 100% my dex? Yeah, I do? Oh, okay, cool. Anyways, welcome to Scarlet, a completely different game, I promise. Don't believe me? This one has a skunk. We begin our journey absolutely dripless, and enter the downstairs in our house only to find the director of our new school barging in. And thus begins one of this game's main features, dialogue. Everyone in this game has a backstory, and a sob story, and a who gives a shit story. I already read this text once, I'm not interested in doing it again. My thumb now sore from mashing the A button through all the talking, we head outside and are told to walk with all 3 starter Pokemon to see who we want to take with us. It's a cute idea, walking slowly with all 3 and seeing how they behave, but again, I've already done this before. My first time, sure, I was casually strolling with the Pokemon, making sure none, fall too far behind, that nobody was caught on anything. This time, I was full speed racing down the road, leaving these runt Pokemon in the dust. Making it to our destination, a house down the street, we meet our rival, Nemona, before making our starter choice. In Violet, I chose Grass Cat. This time, I chose Fire Croc, naming him Ozai, after Avatar: The Last Airbender. Well, I changed it to that eventually, after first naming him Gator, a name so uncreative it makes Krabby look well thought out. After that, we have our first rival battle, in one of those, wow, fire beats grass types of deals that wastes everyone's time who is over the age of 10. And then, finally, the game loosens the chokehold on our necks, and we are allowed to explore a tiny bit of the surrounding area. Oh, wait, no, our rival's back, teaching us how to catch Pokemon. Reluctantly catching a pig named Lechonk, he sits in our party for now, but I'm not happy about it. Immediately following that, we meet the legendary of the game lying washed up on a beach. Just know, after the tutorial ends, we can't use him in battle, but we can use him as a bike of sorts, with him unlocking extra abilities like swimming or gliding after he eats special sandwiches. Would you believe it if I said this was one of the better storylines? Either way, talkie done and over with, we are granted one more glimpse of freedom before the final bit of the tutorial. During this excursion, we catch our first real Pokemon, an Azurill I named Boing. Again, I know, not very creative, but it's better than Gator, which I do change to Ozai right after I catch a Pichu, who I decided against naming. By the way, did I mention that this whole time our goal is to make it to school? That is how unimportant this dialogue is to me right now. Right before we make it to the big city where the school is located, our rival Nemona challenges us to another battle, this time to show us this game's new gimmick, Terastallization. Basically, you change into whatever type your Terra type is defensively, and if you use a move with the same type as your Terra type, it gets more power. Stack that with Stab, it's even more powerful. But back to the battle, I mean, come on, she has 2 Pokemon, what do you think happened? We sweep her and at long last make it into the big city, Mesagosa. We make a beeline for the shops in the city first, and finally put together a look that does not scream that we are begging to get bullied. We also pick up some charcoal for our croc and climb up the steps to witness someone else getting bullied. Clearly we upgraded our fit just in time, and we step in, battle, and defeat the bullies, who are grunts from this game's enemy team, Team Star. They have their own storyline, that you may catch glimpses of later in this video, if only I show up by accident. From here we go inside and are told of this school's special event, the Treasure Hunt. Basically, all students are told to go touch grass and find something that they consider to be a treasure. Not necessarily in a literal sense, but mostly to go accomplish something, like this game's 3 main storylines. The typical gym route and becoming the champion, called Victory Road, defeating the enemy team, Team Star, called Starfall Street, and defeating Titans, as they're called, essentially boss Pokemon, with the help of some guy named Arvin in the quest called Path of Legends. Across all 3 storylines, we have 18 badges to collect, 8 from the gyms, and 5 apiece for the Titans and Team Star bases. We can do them in any order at any time, however, the levels do not scale to where your team's at, making doing things out of order slightly impractical. All that tutorial nonsense out of the way though, we are at last set free in the open world and we can do as we wish. And if that means that I want to run straight to the bug gym without battling a single person or wild Pokemon and get absolutely stomped by their gym leader Katie, rage quit, delete the footage, and not record again for another 2 weeks out of anger, I can. And I did. 2 weeks later, I come to my senses and decide that maybe training my Pokemon is a good idea. So I battle some wild Pokemon and then battle this trainer named Angel. Angel proceeds to wipe my entire team with his bastard Psyduck, making me consider scrapping this video altogether after another blow to my pride. But I kept going. It was also around this time that I changed our starter's name to Book 1 Zuko after his underwhelming performance so far. Regardless, we filled out our party with some filler Pokemon and trained for a whole hour, not for Katie, the gym leader, but just to make sure that Angel cried himself to sleep that night. We beat him this time and proceed to taunt him for a whole minute after our victory. Our secondary nemesis down, we march back in the gym with Zuko as our lead, and this time waste no time as we terrestrialize immediately and sweep all 3 of her Pokemon with our Croc. Unfortunately, when the cutscene ends, we are back in the gym lobby, so we can't even flex on the gym leader. But we do wind up getting the badge, and this means we are on to the next gym, the Grass Gym, on the other side of Mesagosa. We train up a bit more on the route, evolving our Zuko, a Fuecoco, to a Crocolar. Also, we catch a Skiddo and name it Toph. Both of these friends make it into the main party, and upon our arrival in the town of Artisan, Boing evolves into Morel. From there, we head straight to the gym to take on Brassius, the Grass Gym leader. He brought 3 Pokemon, and 4 turns later, stupid Sudowoodo had Sturdy, we collected our second gym badge. Next up on our to-do list is to slap up our first Titan, Cloth, but before that, I feel our Zuko has earned it. He upgrades from Book 1 Zuko to Book 2 Zuko, and Boing has evolved again, this time into Azumarill. That is perfect for us, because Cloth is a rock Pokemon, and Boing matches up with that perfectly as a water type. We send him out first, and he easily takes out Cloth's first stage. For his second stage, Arven joins us, and we finish him off for good, earning us a homemade badge that I guess I have to keep. The game tries to sneak in some dialogue here, but don't worry, I was mashing A as hard as I could to get through it. When the talking was done, we got a phone call, which means another chatty Cathy preventing us from playing the game, but this was an actual important intrusion, as we learned that our ride Pokemon Koraidon, did I mention his name was Koraidon, now had the ability to dash, which should speed up our travels. Our travels now bring us to our first Team Star base, whose specialty is the Fire type. But before that, we evolve our Pichu in a Pikachu and find a new friend in Cyclizar, a Dragon type. A bit more trained up, we enter the Star base where the gimmick before we can fight the boss is explained to us. Essentially, this game has auto battles, where you can send out 3 of your Pokemon to battle on their own without the need for the player to control them, as the name suggests. For these star bases, we must defeat 30 of the opposing team's Pokemon in auto battles to face the boss, who for this base is named Milla. The auto battle goes swimmingly, and we don't lose any Pokemon, and the boss Milla shows up and challenges us to a battle. That being what we showed up for, we accept, and she sends out a Torkoal that immediately knocks out our first Pokemon. We send in our newly caught Cyclizar, which manages to knock out the dumb turtle while only having 4 HP left. Mela only has one other Pokemon, a literal car, with a very large health bar named the Starmobile. Unable to switch out, Cyclizar lands a quick attack before being downed by the silly car, leading us to bring out Boing, who just recently learned a better water move in Aqua Tail. I terrestrialize Boing, and she lands a few hits, which brings down the Starmobile to just under half health, before I have to switch into Pikachu because she only has 5 HP left. Pikachu is brought down to less than half health in the switch, so I know it won't live another turn. My decision was to heal up Boing and sacrifice Pikachu. Pikachu predictably falls, and we bring Boing back out to finish the job, only to have her run out of PP of Aqua Tail, forcing us to switch one more time, this time into Zuko, who finishes the job, earning us our first star badge. Acquiring one of these badges closes one of the star bases for good, which means only 4 to go, but no time for that, as we have another gym to take on, this one specializing in the electric type. This gym is located in a city called Levincia, and upon arriving, we of course make for the gym straight away, but before we can go up to the front desk, we are blocked by our rival Nemona, who wants to battle. She only has 3 Pokemon, and we match up well against them, defeating her without any of ours feigning. That out of the way, we can challenge Iono, the electric gym leader. She starts with a Wattrel, who, as an electric flying type, has the upper hand against our Toph, a grass type. Toph falls after bringing down the Wattrel to half health, and then Boing lays it to rest after that. But with the Wattrel also paralyzing Boing, I switch her out with Zuko, as Iono brings out Bellable. Zuko decimates this thing in 2 turns, and then she tosses out a Luxio, which we let Cyclizar handle. Cyclizar does handle it, and all that Iono has left is her ace, a Mismagius. We send out Pikachu, hoping that its electric type can offset the Miss Magius's electric Terra type, but it does not, as Pikachu quickly falls after doing essentially nothing. We send out Zuko, but he is slower than the opponent and he gets one shot. Running out of options, we throw out our Cyclizar, who the Miss Magius immediately confuses after Cyclizar gets it down to half health. They go back and forth before we get the Miss Magius down to needing a little more than one hit to win. Cyclizar then lives a Charge Beam with only 1 HP, leaving me with a decision to make. Do I terrestrialize Cyclizar and hope that she does not hurt herself in confusion and manages to do enough damage to knock out the opposing Pokemon, or do I save it for another one of my Pokemon and play it safe? After much deliberation, I put my big boy pants on and terrestrialize Cyclizar with 1 HP and pray to the Pokemon gods. She does not get confused and does enough damage to finish off the Miss Magius, earning us our 3rd gym badge with only a few years taken off our life. Moving on, I decide to take on another Titan, this time a Stork, hovering high over a mountain, dropping boulders down it in what I imagine is a baller game of bowling. However, due to public safety or whatever, we can't let him shoot strikes anymore, and we climb the mountain to face him in combat. We reach him and end his first stage after 2 sparks from our Pikachu. For his second stage, Arven shows up and we spark him once, and then our partner defeats him for good, earning us our 2nd Titan badge. Arven then shows us his wounded dog like we give a hoot, and we escape his monologue and receive what we came for, an upgrade for our ride Pokemon Koraidon. We are now able to swim across water on him, which will come in handy a little later down the road as we grind for the endgame. After that, we head straight to another Team Star base, this time home of boss Giacomo, who uses Dark-type Pokemon. We breeze through the guard out front and the 30 Pokemon auto battle and prepare for the boss, who leads with a Pornerd. Boing takes care of him and gets his Starmobile down to about quarter health before I switch to Zuko to finish it off and earn us our 2nd star badge in record time. Giacomo and his fantastic hair grant us a 3-minute break from the game as the mandatory backstory plays for far too long before we assume control again and stroll over to the next Titan, this one, Orthworm, a Steel type. We lead with Zuko, and he blasts the worm on one shot to end his first stage before he dips and hides a little farther away, forcing us to track him down. We find him, meet up with Arven, and after eating some herbs, the Alaskan Orthworm, switches from a 1-shot to a 2-shot, earning us our 3rd Titan badge. Bada bing bada boom, our ride Pokemon Koraidon is now an Olympic long jumper. We grind up a bit and are feeling pretty confident for the next gym, this one a water gym in the town of Cascarafa. Both our Toph and Pikachu match up well for this type, so the stakes were pretty low. As we arrive at the gym building's entrance, the leader, Kofu, and his strange unibrow, is bolting out the door on his way to the next closest town, Porto Marinara. His assistant explains that he's going to bid on some seaweed and forgot his wallet, and who do you think has to track this buffoon down? We claw through the desert and find him, returning his wallet and going on our way. Ha 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 ha! Couldn't be that easy now, could it? Kofu, trying to expose the youth at a young age to gambling, gives us his $50,000 and instructs us to win him his seaweed. Well, I was playing with house money, and I wasn't about to lose this seaweed to Ned and Nancy, so of course I outbid them and secured the goods, bringing them straight to Kofu when I was done. He, at last, agrees to go do his job, and we agree to meet back at Cascarafa for our gym battle. We book it immediately back to the gym building, where we are led to the town square to at last face off against Kofu and his water-type Pokemon. We lead with Toph, and he leads with a Veluza, which of course knows a flying-type move and pluck, leading it to 2-shot Toph after minimal damage. We switch to Pikachu and nuzzle it, causing paralysis, and bringing down its health to under half. Veluza can't move this turn due to paralysis, leading to Pikachu knocking it out with a spark. Next up, Kofu sends out a Wugtrio, and we keep Pikachu in. We nuzzle first turn again, but Wugtrio is faster and chops off half of Pikachu's health with a headbutt. Unfortunately, Wugtrio is still faster even after being paralyzed, and he knocks out Pikachu with another headbutt. We send out Cyclizar, and she moves first with Breaking Swipe, ensuring one more hit and Wugtrio is done. We get lucky as paralysis saves us yet again, blocking the Wugtrio from attacking this turn. Cyclizar hits another Breaking Swipe, then it's down to Kofu's final Pokemon, a Crabominable. It of course terrestrializes into a water type, and Cyclizar only can shave off its health down to half before it falls to a Rock Smash. We send in a filler Pokemon, which whittles down its health just a sliver before we send out Boing. Boing's Play Rough has 90% accuracy, but sometimes it feels like it's 50%. This is not one of those times, as Boing hits the Play Rough, making Kofu no more, earning us our 4th gym badge. Our next destination is a Team Star base, this one belonging to a boss named Atticus, who uses Poison-type Pokemon. Most of our team does not match up well with Poison types, so we catch a Mudbray to offset some of the heat, and finally fill up our party with 6 Pokemon I consider to be A-team material. We storm in the base after smacking up a child out front, and complete the auto battle challenge before the boss Atticus decides to show his face. Well, not literally, because he has one of those like neck gaiters on, but whatever. He wants to fight, so we do, after 18 seconds of black screen. Has anybody ever told you these games do not run the best? Either way, I'm getting off track. Atticus, battle, he leads with Skuntank, and we lead with Toph. We set up Leech Seed and play the long game with Synthesis, which heals us, chipping away at the Skuntank before it finally falls. Next, Atticus sends in Muck, and we send in Zuko, who successfully takes out the Muck, but Zuko falls to poison damage the same turn. We send out Cyclizar as Atticus sends out a Reverum, which is a bad play on my end. Breaking Swipe does next to nothing, and Cyclizar is one hit away from being downed. I use this turn to revive Zuko and sacrifice Cyclizar, who couldn't do much this fight anyways. Zuko once again steps up and blasts the Reverum in one go with Flamethrower. Backed into a corner, Atticus sends out his ace, the Jalopy car everyone in this gang has. Zuko does good damage but quickly falls to poison yet again. However, we still have our horse we hired for this fight and send out the Mudbray, terrestrializing it and using high horsepower once, twice, game. The car falls, as does the boss, earning us our 3rd star badge, but not before some backstory of course. That junk out of the way, we set our sights on the city of Medali, whose gym leader is Larry. Larry specializes in normal type Pokemon, whose weakness is the fighting type. The only problem, we don't have any fighting types on our team, so we need to catch one before the fight. We traverse to Medali, taking a selfie with a random man on the way, and discover and catch a Primeape just outside the city. He's 1 level higher than our current highest, so we add him to the team, replacing Cyclizar, who just hasn't been coming in handy lately. And that's where it all went wrong. Wouldn't it be crazy if I forgot to hit record for this next 2-hour session, where more interesting things happen than in the entire rest of my playthrough? Yeah, wouldn't it be so funny? Yeah, enjoy whatever I decide to put on the screen right now. You guys don't even know. You don't even know. You don't even know. You don't know that I marched into Larry's gym with my confidence through the roof. You don't even know that I led with my newly caught Primeape, figuring he might even sweep the whole dang team. You don't know that he fainted without ever landing a single hit on one of Larry's Pokemon. You don't know that I revived him, only for him to still not land a single hit. You don't know that I subsequently lost to Larry, nicknamed my Primeape Loser, and released him in anger. You just don't know. How could you? But now you do. After my humiliating defeat, I caught a Murkrow with super luck, evolved it in Honchkrow, and gave it a Razor Claw, making it a critical hit machine, which replaced our Pikachu. I also caught a Hariyama to have some fighting type coverage on the team after the departure of, well, that Pokemon. This time we defeated Larry, earning our 5th gym badge, while also our Zuko evolved into a Skeledirge. During this time we also went ahead and beat the 6th gym, a ghost gym, that I don't remember, so you're just gonna have to trust that it happened. Shortly after, we caught a Pupitar, who took the place of our Mudbray, before I made the observation that we were very underleveled for our next task, that being a Titan Pokemon called the Great Tusk. We slide up to Castle Royal Lake to grind in. Hey, look, the gameplay's back! Alright, welcome back everyone. Hope that doesn't happen again. So yeah, after we grind a bit, we head back to the desert to take on the next Titan, who is a ground type. Once again, we leave with Toph, who does most of the needed damage in his first stage, but has her health lowered down to next to nothing, forcing me to put in Boing to cap off the opening act. For the second stage, Arven joins us and we easily take down the elephant, earning us our 4th Titan badge. After Koraidon eats his special sandwich, it can now glide in the air for a short distance. After deciding that we are high enough level to take on the next gym, we make our way to Alfornada, home of the psychic gym leader, Tulip. We barely make it through the doors of the gym building, however, before our rival Momona intercepts us and wants to battle. She has 4 Pokemon, and they all go down one by one while our team stays squeaky clean. Following that, we receive a strange therapy session in a weird game of Bop It, and gear up to challenge the gym, leading with our Honchkrow. Tulip leads with Farigiraf, and we murder it in 1 hit. Next up is Gardevoir, and it moves first and nearly kills us. Honchkrow then nearly kills the Gardevoir, and we decide to switch out into Toph, who eats the would-be kill shot and polishes off the enemy Pokemon before Tulip sends out Espathra. Espathra knocks out Toph, allowing us to throw out Pupitar, who can slay her 3rd Pokemon, which leaves us 1 Pokemon left, Florges. Pupitar does not stand a chance and dies before we even scratch the Florges. We toss out Zuko, and after terrestrializing and using our new fire move, Torch Song, the Florges falls and we collect our 7th gym badge. And I say, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna beat the 8th gym right here and now. We trek up to Glacido Mountain to the Ice Gym, where Busho waits for us. Before we can challenge him though, we have to participate in a less fun Club Penguin sled racing minigame, which we completed by gracing more of the poles than my pride would like to admit. When we finally face Grusha, well, we start up with Zuko, terrestrialize immediately, and see that he has 4 Pokemon. 4 torch songs later, we earn our 8th and final gym badge. Our only goal now to complete the Victory Road quest path is to tackle the Elite Four, Champion, and Nemona, but I want all 18 badges before we do that. Which means that we still have 1 Titan and 2 Team Star bases left. We start with the fairy Team Star leader named Ortega, but first catch a Toxicroak to be our hitman for hire this battle, replacing Hariyama. There is not much to report here. We stunt on the guard out front, clear the auto battle section easily, and take down Ortega without losing a single Pokemon. And if it seems like I've been blowing through these past few badges, well, this script is already at 10 pages, and we still have a good chunk of post-game left to go. So I'm skimming off the boring parts of this playthrough to move the show along to the good part, alright? I promise you are not missing much. Okay, now off to the Dragon Titan in Castle Royale Lake. To help with this one, we catch a Tinkaton, and curiously decide to replace Boing with it. Boing, our first Pokemon that we caught, with free will, on the bench for something new. It felt wrong, but we still have badges to get, so we pressed on to the final Titan. This one was a 3-stage fighter, and after sweeping through the first 2 with Toph, the last one gave us a bit more trouble as Toph was no longer super effective. But we set up Leech Seed and grinded out a slow win that way. Earning our 5th Titan badge, Arbin's dog now recovered from its bender and was normal again. I'm sorry for slipping some story in there. I'll do better next time. What I should have said is that our train keeps on chugging all the way to the final badge we need to collect, a Team Star badge that the fighting type boss Aerie holds. We breeze through all the fluff and begin the battle with Aerie, but that is where things start to go wrong yet again. We clear out her first 4 Pokemon, losing both Book 2 Zuko and our Toxicroak in the process. I think I've backed her into a corner, but she sends out the car and it all goes to shit. One by one, that dumb car finishes off my remaining 4 Pokemon, forcing us to retreat for now. This time, however, I did not rage quit for 2 weeks. I just healed and began to train up a bit more. After I felt more comfortable heading back, it hit me. The reason I had lost. How could I have been so stupid? I'd split up the gang. I kicked the worthless Pupitar off our squad and brought back our day 1 gamer, Boing. It felt so right to have him back. I knew he was the missing piece all along. We demand a rematch against Aerie, and for some dumb reason, she obliges us. We breezed through her first 4 Pokemon yet again, this time only losing Boing, but don't worry, he did knock out 2 Pokemon before he went. After he went though, we sent out Zuko and had him clean up the last Pokemon before the Starmobile. The good thing about that is that he already had boosted his special attack with his move Torch Song previous, which meant that he was flying high for this silly car. And after living 2 super effective high horsepowers, including the last one on only 12 health, Zuko, with +3 special attack, finishes off the car, and with it, our badge collecting journey, due to the power of friendship. And you can't convince me otherwise. I was stoked, but we aren't anywhere near done yet. We still have all 3 quest lines to finish up, so we start with wrapping up the Team Star nonsense. The leader of Team Star requests that we meet him at the school. We go there, and before we make it inside, oh god damn it, not again. Twice I forgot to hit record during this video. It is very simple. It is a button, folks. It is not rocket science. OBS is very straightforward. How stupid can a person be? Apparently, with me, that is a trick question, so enjoy this screen again. Okay, so the leader of Team Star was Penny, the person who was getting bullied in the beginning. Remember that? She wants to fight for some idiotic reason before she gives the whole thing up, even though she created an entire operation centered around destroying Team Star. But who cares? We beat her easily. The truth comes out. She hacked into a government-operated system and stole thousands of a certain currency. No one's in trouble. Everyone makes up in the end, and now she owes us one. Bookmark that last point for later. Oh, hey, welcome back. Now with the Team Star questline Starfall Street done, we head back to the Elite Four in the Champion Building. Before we fight Rika, the first member of the Elite Four, she makes us relive our traumatic beginning of the game by asking us which of the gyms gave us the most difficulty. We answer the first one, somewhat ashamedly, as we reminisce about when we almost quit this run on the first day. Yada yada, irrelevant questions later, we finish the test and can challenge Rika, a ground-type trainer, to a duel. Not much happens as we clean out her entire team without taking damage. Next up is a creepy child who is a Steel-type user. I lead with Zuko and he takes out most of her team before getting paralyzed by a Magnezone. Zuko beats the Magnezone, but we switch into Tinkaton as the child throws in her Tinkaton, which is our last Pokemon. Unfortunately, we lose the honor battle as our Tinkaton falls, but our Toxicroak finishes her off, putting us halfway through the Elite Four. Next up, Larry returns. Oh wait, you guys didn't meet him yet, because that's one of the times I forgot to hit record. Yeah. Well, you know what? You still can't meet him. We might as well keep it consistent this video. Faceless Larry has changed from a normal type gym leader to a flying type member of the Elite Four. We lead with Book 2 Zuko as he leads with Tropius. We take it out easily and keep switching out to counter whatever he sends in. That is, until he tosses out his final Pokemon, a Flamigo. We throw in Zuko, but the bird has close combat for some reason, and it kills our starter. No biggie, because we send out our Tinkaton and it closes out the battle, leaving us with just Hassel, the last Elite Four member and the champion. Hassel leads with Noivern, who gets one shot by our Tinkaton as we terrestrialize out of the gate. That proves to be a bad choice, as the next Pokemon Hassel sends out downs our Tinkaton, forcing us to send out Toxicroak. Toxicroak manages to Poison Stall, and we send out Boing to deal with the new enemy Pokemon, Flapple. Boing two-shots that, and a Haxorus, which leaves us just a Baxcalibur left. We send out Zuko, which brings the opposition down to half health. Next, we send out our nearly dead Toxicroak as a sacrifice to heal our Boing. Boing, after sparing the Baxcalibur by just about 2 health, finally finishes off the bastard, allowing us to conquer the Elite Four. After that, only the champion Geeta remains. Her team, as all champions are, is not just centered around a single type, which means we might actually have a decent fight on our hands. She leads with Espathra, and we lead with Honchkrow. Espathra of course knows a fairy move, which slices Honchkrow's health down to 1/3, and the champion mocks us for getting upset about it. But one Night Slash from Honchkrow knocks out the Espathra, leaving the Geeta throwing out King Gamut and Avalugg, both of which get one shot by Zuko. Following that, she sends out Veluza, a Pokemon that gave us trouble during the water gym. In that fight, I led with Toph, which did not go well, and apparently I did not learn from my mistakes because we sent out Toph again. Instead of Veluza knowing a super effective flying move like last time though, this time it knows a super effective ice move, which freezes Toph instantly, rendering her useless for the rest of the fight. We switch to Boing, who misses another Ice Fang, only to get hit by the next one, and also get frozen? That is some insane luck, but Boing instantly thaws out and chips away the stupid fish until it has just a sliver of HP left. With Boing at low health, we switch back to Honchkrow as a sacrifice so we can finish off the Veluza without our Tinkaton taking damage. With Geeta next sending out Go-Go, we toss out Zuko to handle it before the champion is down to her last Pokemon, Glimmora. We switch to Tinkaton and watch as the Glimmora terrestrializes, growing more apprehensive by the second, as we already used ours up. Fear started to fill me, but then Tinkaton hit the Glimmora with a hammer, and we won! Remember, this is a kid's game after all. 13 pages of script later, and we're the champions, but we aren't into the post-game just yet. We still have one more fight left to do, a final rival battle with Nemona, who is widely considered to be harder than the champion. Well, as long as she doesn't have a Veluza, we should be okay. We make our way to the center of Mesagoza, where she stands waiting for us. Most of the main characters of the game have gathered to watch this duel, but I haven't introduced you to most of them because they don't matter. So just think of this battle as having absolutely no stakes whatsoever. We lead with Toph, which clears out her Lycanroc immediately. Next, she sends in Guja, which Boing tries to clear but ends up falling to a super effective poison move. Tinkaton rallies to down the Guja, and Nemona sends out an Orthworm, which Zuko takes care of easily. Next, she sends out Dunsparce, and we send out Toxicroak. Toxicroak whittles it down to next to nothing health, but falls to a +2 attack Drill Run. Tinkaton comes back out to play cleanup again, and knocks out the Dunsparce. We keep Tinkaton in as Nemona sends out Palmot. Palmot brings Tinkaton down to below half health, but we smash it in one shot with our fairy move. All that is left is her ace, Meowscarada. We toss out our ace in Book 2 Zuko, and both of us terrestrialize. She moves first and slaps Zuko down to 1/4 health, but Zuko takes the hit in stride and delivers one fire-type blow to the enemy, and caps off the battle. We are the champions. For real this time, I think, which draws a close to this questline, Victory Road, leaving us one more quest to wrap up. We meet up with Arvin to bust into his mom's lab, and once we do, his mom, Professor Seda, starts video calling us remotely. She wants us to travel down to the Great Crater of Paldea for a reason she won't disclose. Sounds super trustworthy, right? Either way, after that, Arvin and his bastard squirrel want to box, and of course get dropped by my squad in less than 3 minutes. Following the battle, Arvin says we need some allies to bring down to the crater. One person who has champion rank skills, and another who can deal with crazy tech. Either way, we meet up with the others at the entrance to the crater before we glide down on our Koraidon. Our adventurers are all making small talk and airing out their grievances with their parents, but we might as well have had AirPods in due to how little we were paying attention. At this point in the story, the game puts you in this crater and takes away your ride Pokemon, forcing you to walk all the way down this stupid hole, all while the 3 amigos won't stop blabbing their text on the screen as I'm just trying to race to the bottom. On the way down, we have to visit 4 buildings to press a giant button in each in order to unlock the final building at the bottom. We do so and make our way into the last building solo as the rest of the group stays behind to fight straggler Pokemon. We find Professor Sada and she confesses that she is just an AI that the original professor created to be more efficient at building a time machine. The original professor died in an explosion, leaving just AI Sada to finish what she started, but the AI wants to shut down the now working time machine to keep out ancient Pokemon that do not belong in the modern world. Sounds admirable enough, so we agree to help shut down the time machine, but the AI Sada warns us that, well, of course she's programmed to battle us if we try to shut down the machine. She's a tough fight, I won't lie, but we scrape through and now only have to fight our ride Pokemon's rival, another Koraidon. The rest of the party shows up and we can finally battle with our own Koraidon against this outsider. The game puts on baby mode, and we live a hit that should have killed us in order to defeat the enemy Koraidon and defeat the AI Professor, close the time machine, and get the heck out of there. Finally, the story is over, and we can do what we set out to do. We catch an Ampharos to help catch the version-exclusive Pokemon that we need, and immediately catch a Charcadet that has a special way to evolve, so we'll save him for later. We give some candies to our Pupitar in the box to make him a Tyranitar, and catch another Pupitar and a Larvitar to cap off the whole evolutionary line. Next up is the Drifloon line, and for some reason that I do not remember, we already have one in the box, meaning we just need a Drifloon, which we easily catch in a Quick Ball. After that, we head over to the lake and catch 2 Stunkies, one for the box, and one to level up into Skuntank. And then I proceeded to waste the next hour of my life trying to find a dumb Fire Tauros in this one field that I thought I would never get, before I finally found one, catching it and throwing it in the box. Shortly after, we tracked down a Stonjourner in the desert, a Dino in a cave, a Skrelp in the ocean, and then I thought it'd be a good idea to evolve the Charcadet. To evolve Charcadet in Scarlet and Violet, you need to talk to a man in Zapapico who will trade you an item to evolve it in exchange for 10 Pokemon materials. In Violet, he wants 10 Sinistee chips, so that's what I grinded first. Turns out, no. In Scarlet, he wants Bronzor fragments, so eventually after grinding for 10 more materials, we trade for the item and evolve our Charcadet into Armarouge. Most of the regular Pokemon down, it's time to catch all of the Pokemon exclusive to the Great Crater of Paldea. Down here, there are ancient Pokemon that are predecessors of many Pokemon we see today, like Great Tusk, resembling a Donphan, and Brute Bonnet resembling, well, this guy. We fast travel to the 4th building we had to hit a button in, and catch both of the aforementioned Pokemon out of the gate, along with a Zweilous and a Screamtail. Moving closer to the bottom, we find and catch a Fluttermane, a prehistoric Mischievous. Reaching the bottom, we locate the other Koraidon who sits waiting for us to challenge. We approach it and begin to battle. I know, this is one incredibly dangerous Pokemon, and it could sweep my team with its eyes closed, so I need a good strategy. I think carefully about my next move, and then, yeah, I just threw a Master Ball at him. We begin to move back up the crater and locate another ancient Pokemon, this one a Sandy Shocks. It puts up a struggle, but after a few Ultra Balls, we finally catch it. Next up, we find a Slitherwings a little bit further away, and all we need now is to track down Roaring Moon, an ancient Salamence. We find it in a cave and successfully catch it and box it, leaving us no more exclusive to catch. All that is left to do is trade over our mons to my Violet game and talk to the homeroom teacher to show that we have seen all 400 Pokemon, and that will be a wrap. We trade over everyone, including our party, because I want them in my main game. But before I trade over Book 2 Zuko, there is something I need to do. You've earned it, buddy. Oh my god, I forgot to get the 4 stake Pokemon. Hold on, this shouldn't take long. Well, not for you. For me, it took an hour to track down all the stakes and catch all 4 of them because they all wanted to fight me tooth and nail to avoid going in my Pokeballs. These Pokemon can only be caught if you find a bunch of colored stakes all around Paldea and then go to 4 shrines to unlock them all. We catch them and then just box them out of spite for how long they took to catch. Those losers caught, I level up my Zweilous and breed Zuko to hatch a Fuecoco and level it up so it evolves into Crocodile, making it so we've seen 400 Pokemon. All that's left to do is take these to the teacher to show off. We fly to the school, head to his classroom, talk to him, and... Wait, you had to catch 400 Pokemon? Oh my fuck.